Okay. Hello and welcome to Casual Coffee Talk. This is your host Gabe, and today's topic is one subject of many definitions. And they say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Now, I'm not talking about sightseeing, I'm talking about art. And with me, I have my friend Kayleen. She is an artist, and she is going to go and answer some questions about the industry. So, Kayleen, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for coming. So, as far as being an artist, how long have you been involved in art?
Involved in art?
Yes.
Well, I've been drawing since I was really little. As long as I can remember, but I feel like every artist says that.
Yeah.
Anybody who's interested in art, it's like, I've been drawing since I could hold a pencil. It's true.
Oh, boy.
It's probably true. If you've done art this long, you've probably been doing it forever. But I don't think I got real serious until high school. I know around middle school, when I started learning about the old masters and they started introducing art in the classes.
Yes.
I was really interested in Van Gogh, and I was interested in Egon Schiele, these really interesting, quirky people. And then we would learn how to draw with crayon in their style, and I was like, this is dope. I don't think dope was the word that we used back then, but it was dope.
This is radical.
It was probably radical. This is so rad.
So, as far as I guess knowing that you wanted to be an artist, how did you get started?
How did I get started?
Yeah.
Starting with actual doing shows.
Yes, actually getting more serious
into
with
the
your craft.
art.
Yes.
When I was in high school, we actually had foundation classes. You could take an art class for painting and drawing.
Okay.
And they would show you the foundations. Our teacher, I think she would teach us the basics and then tell us about different art shows, make us go out to the galleries and stuff. We'd have field trips. So she actually made it so we immersed ourselves in that type of mindset, that type of culture, and I think that really pushed it. And then she also really pushed us, if we were interested in art, to go ahead and apply to art schools, make a portfolio. Yes. And I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm passionate about. Why do I want to work in the cubicle? Never. Those things. I know, right? Never.
Yeah, so your creativity was just booming at the time.
Booming.
You're just like, I want to do this.
Yes,
this
I want
is
to
something
do
I want to do.
It's definitely something I want to do. Did I think it was easier back then than how it really is? Yeah. Was I very naive? Yes. Definitely.
When you're in high school, there's a lot of high schoolers are going to have big dreams about a lot of things, and really it just comes down to when they find out a little bit more about that particular industry or that job, then they'll have a better idea of what they want to do. Hence, this is why we're having this podcast, right?
Yes.
We do it for you guys, for you listeners. So as far as that goes too, what kind of artist would you say that you are as far as style or types? What's your favorite, and how do you, I guess, I don't want to say classify your
identify
art. Yeah, identify. There you go. That's a better word.
Well, I was always interested in surrealism. So, you have Salvador Dali, who does the melting clocks, all those dreamscapes. Actually, when I went to, I think it was Florida. I was in Florida. They have a Dali museum. Went there, saw all his works, was blown away, loved it. But yeah, I remember loving those, and they do show them in the old cartoons, like Bugs Bunny.
There's a lot of references.
Yeah, they did a lot of reference.
A lot of older cartoons.
Yeah, to a lot of artists. So I was I think it was sort of instilled in me back then, and then learning about Van Gogh, and then Egon Schiele with that sort of line, raw, erotic stuff. Is where I think I fall on the line between there, something a little expressionist. Surrealism. I think a word I've used before to describe some of my pieces was beautifully grotesque. I like to take beautiful concepts and show the ugly.
Okay,
but
wow, very raw.
Very raw, a little uncomfortable, yes. It draws the viewer in, it makes them uncomfortable, but they can't look away type of thing,
boy. Yeah, no, I hear you. Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Definitely as far as just the role of the artist is to explore, right?
Yes, definitely explore.
Definitely. So, as far as when it comes to being an artist or for a job or a career, what are some example jobs where some people can apply their art skills? Like what type of jobs are out there?
Well, it depends what you want to do. For like, if you want to go like in-house, you do graphic design, you could go through a company. Hell, even the county, San Diego County has a graphic designer
Oh,
job.
really?
Yeah, you could work for the county, design our little banners and posters and whatnot. You do that. They do have screen printing. They have tons of places where they do prints where artists go and make their prints.
Okay,
and, or like
very
businesses go. You get paid to design their business cards or whatnot.
Oh, like logos and things
logos
too.
and things. Yeah, all that's graphic design. If you don't want to go that route, you can always go through a company like Pixar, Disney.
Oh boy.
Not Leica. Is it Leica? The one that does the stop motion.
So. I think that is Leica. If anything, we'll find out later.
We'll fix that.
But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they did like Trolls, Box Trolls,
yes.
Kubo, all that amazing stop motion stuff.
Yeah, that's spectacular.
It's crazy. If you want to work for Cartoon Network, anything like visual animation, you could go through that for art. If you want to be an art teacher, just go get your bachelor's degree, teaching credential.
Yeah.
You're golden. If you want to do, that's for like high school, K through 12. And then if you want to do like community college or something, get a master's degree. You can also open your own studio and have teach people to paint.
Oh,
There's
very
people that
cool.
do that. I know there was one here in Mary Mesa. There was an art instructor who was recruiting other painters and artists to teach kids over the summer how to paint properly. It's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's I think that's the great thing about art. It's so versatile. You could go work for someone, you could work for yourself. It's very flexible.
A lot of options.
A lot
it
of
sounds
options.
like, yeah.
And if there's not an option you like, you could go ahead and make your own.
That's very true, huh?
Yeah.
That's the great thing about art. It's very open.
Yes.
Again, as I was mentioning before, it's just so many definitions to it too.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, music is an art. Sculpture is an art.
Sculpture,
of course.
definitely.
A lot of
Writing.
people do photography too.
Photography.
So that's really, really neat. So as far as I know when you mentioned companies like Pixar or Disney, I can imagine those are super duper competitive. But would you say it's kind of like every other job where you just gotta apply?
Yeah, you just gotta apply. They do internships for college
cool.
students. So if you live nearby one of those companies, or they do summer programs where you can apply. Most of those companies, they're just looking for a solid portfolio.
Yeah.
You want to work for Disney, you work on your portfolio for Disney. You want to work on that style. Show them that you have very good technical skills.
Oh.
But also show them that you have your own creativity too. Build a solid portfolio, send it in, keep applying. Also, network. If you go to school for art, say you go to San Diego State, they do have visiting artists that come from different companies.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find out what that fucking company's name is. It's not like it might be Leica.
I think it's Leica.
I think it is. They come down with their puppets.
Yes.
And we got to play with them and meet the guy. He told us, hey, you want to apply to this company, you want to work for us, here's our card, email. Let us know that we came to your school.
Yeah.
Know your name, introduce. It's all about networking and always being in their face about your art.
You got to show them your stuff.
You got to show them. It's very competitive. A lot of jobs now are very competitive. A lot of majors are impacted.
Yeah.
So it's like any other thing. You just have to, if you want it, you got to work for it. You might have to work a little harder.
That's true.
But it all comes down to your work ethic and how much you...
That's very true, very true. I totally agree with you. Yeah, I guess as far as working with a company and stuff, that brings me to my next subject with, freelancing versus in-house, being an in-house artist with another company. On the top of your head, what are some, basic pros and cons of, doing as opposed to doing it to yourself and or doing art with yourself?
Doing art
on your own. Art on your own. And we're doing art for a company. What are some pros and cons off the top of your head?
Okay, well, working for a company, you're pretty much given an assignment. What I assume, I haven't worked for a company. I have friends that have worked with a company, whether for graphic design or tattooing, whatever. You're working through your company.
Yes.
And what you get is what you get. Sometimes you're not even working on art. Sometimes you're just stapling papers. It's not as glamorous as you might think. Sometimes there's a lot of grunt work, but it does come with stability.
Okay.
Some of it comes with insurance, benefits.
That's attractive.
Retirement. Like if you're more interested in being stable versus being a raw artist, that's probably gonna ease your mind knowing that every 2 weeks you're gonna get a paycheck versus I need to make this one client commission last this many months and I need a budget. Ooh. Like it's different. But at the same time, working in-house means you have a steady job. You have like a 9 to 5. Let's just say it's 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. Very basic. You clock in, clock out. Yeah. It's very structured. You might not want that. You might feel it stifles your creativity. I can see how
that's important.
Yeah. So like I think it's for some people. Some people need that. Some people don't like it. So it comes down to like your work ethic. Are you the type of person that's going to really push yourself to find clients? Are you the type of person that can stick with a schedule? Are you good at like planning and organizing your own work? Yeah. And setting things up, because you miss a deadline, that gets around. And people aren't going to want to work with you,
That's very true.
So it comes down to that. For freelance, the number one thing that's the most attractive is you set your own hours, which means you can have whatever days off. You could travel, you could do whatever, because you have all this extra freedom. It's more flexible. At the same time, you only have the money that you're able to bring in, like through clients.
That's tough.
It's tough, especially if you're not working through an agent and you just have to do it on your own. You're doing through your own marketing, through your website, whatever. It's going to be a lot tougher. You're working with a client who may or may not be easy to work with. But the best thing about that, since you're working for yourself, you don't have to accept all those people.
That's true.
If there's a client that's too difficult, you don't want to work with them, you can just tell them to fuck off. I mean, no, you don't tell them to fuck off.
I get what you mean. But you can pick and, as you mentioned before the show, picking and choosing your battles.
Yeah,
right?
Picking and choosing your battles, picking and choosing who you want to work with. It's pretty great. Like, other than that, like, you're going to have to work. So it gets stressful, though. Like, you're working against the clock. There might be some months where you're going to barely make rent. Ooh. And there's going to be other months where you're not going to have to work for the rest of the year. It depends, like, what kind of project you landed.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think every artist's goal is to become a freelancer. Well, I guess that's too broad. I guess if you...
people,
right? I feel like most people, even if it's not in the art realm, you want to be your own boss.
Oh, absolutely. I think regardless of whether it's in art or not, most people would.
Yeah, you want to be your own boss. You don't want anyone else telling you what to do except for your client.
Exactly. As long as that money's coming in, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you have a degree of control over that.
But they don't realize, like, you have to put so much work. It's not clocking in, clocking out. You are always clocked in.
Boy.
Sometimes you're working 24-hour days. Sometimes you're working like 74 or whatever. Like, if you need to make deadlines, there's crunch time. And, clients like to change last minute. Yeah, sure, you get to do the rush fees, last minute changes, fees. Like, you have to make sure you add all those fees in. Because you're working extra hard.
That is very true.
But it's stressful. Like, my professor was telling us when I was in college about doing freelancing, and he gave us references, like there's this like book that people look through that has all the artists across the United States.
Oh, really?
It costs a lot of money to be in that book, and people flip through it, find like a piece they like. They're like, oh, I want this style for like this magazine or whatever, and then you get a big contract that way, right? But it's expensive because you have to market everything on your own. Yeah. You have to reach out clients unless you have an agent, and then you have to give your agent a commission. It's a lot more work than clocking in and clocking out.
Wow. Yeah, I can imagine. The way I'm kind of getting this too, that you would need a degree of marketing skills as well.
I think so, but I think there's enough reference online, free and not free, to be able to market efficiently. And with social media now, it's so easy to online market through like Instagram, Facebook. You got the art things like DeviantArt. There's I think there's this new one that's coming out, Bevro?
I
Vivro?
think it's not Vivo.
No, it's not Vivo.
No, Vimeo's a video
It's
thing.
Vero or something. It's like Vero or something.
We'll have to look it up
It's
later.
this new app for artists, and
Yeah.
they have got like Snapchat.
Oh,
and
Pinterest too.
Pinterest is a great one.
Pinterest.
Is really good, actually.
Mhm.
You got YouTube,
Mhm.
all that stuff. Like that, all of that is marketing.
Yeah, definitely. Just letting people know that you're out there and this is
Yes.
the kind of style that you
Yeah.
have.
Whatever you do, don't pay for marketing. Don't pay for marketing unless you're like up there.
Yeah.
Because there's so many ways you can market on your own if you do enough research to figure out how to do it for free. And it'll
Ah.
be just as efficient,
Mhm.
if not more so.
Hey, it sounds good. I like the idea.
Yeah, artists like free shit. I mean, it's expensive.
I do too. In this economy, of course. Free marketing? Oh my gosh, that sounds like a dream.
It is a dream. You gotta do your work. You gotta do your research, but
Mhm.
it can happen. Go to the library. It's free.
Library.
Library's free. You got a lot of resources at your hands. The internet's an amazing place.
Ah, I see.
I mean, when you could reach across the world
Mhm.
with the click of a button, you don't really need someone else to market. I mean, you could pay like Facebook to do a ad for you.
Yeah,
run it
like
through.
Facebook Pixel
Yeah,
and
but I
stuff,
wouldn't
yeah.
use your own money when you're first starting to do that. I would
Mhm.
wait till you have a decent fan base.
Yeah, so start organically.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
there's no reason to push yourself unless you have the funds to do so. If you don't have the funds to pay for marketing, don't. But that doesn't mean you don't market.
No, I like that. I like that, of course. No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, that definitely puts a lot of light because I know that there are artists that they do have a difficult time, I guess, trying to get exposure. So, or even that whole concept of being discovered by a company or some sort of talent scout or
Yeah.
whatever. So that actually brings me to another question. This is something that artists all across the broad spectrum of art, whether it's music or sculpting or molding or anything with an artistic touch to it. We've all heard this line before. Can you do this project for me for free and I'll trade you exposure?
Everyone hears
doing it
that.
for exposure. Now I know that there's a lot of mixed feelings between with that.
Yeah.
So
it's a loaded question.
yeah,
Well,
but
it's very triggering.
like if there's someone like if there's an artist that they do have a talent for let's just say drawing.
Mm-hmm.
They have a really good talent for drawing and someone does see their stuff, they want them to do work for them and they're like, yeah, you know what, I want you to work on this project for me and I can't pay you but I'll give you exposure. So do you have any thoughts or recommendations or advice that people can handle that situation?
Yeah, so I think it comes down to the person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like if someone told me that, I'd probably just tell them to go take a hike or something. I was like, no, I don't need exposure. I could expose myself. Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
But I mean, at the same time, like if I feel like this is a good opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
if it's a project, now this is the key thing. If it's a project that you would want to do for free,
Uh-huh.
it's a project that really excites you and you just want to do it,
Yeah.
you want to be a part of it, yeah, fucking do it. Of course, if you want to do it, go do it. The key thing is you're doing this as long they don't own the rights to the image you're making or the
Okay.
product.
Yeah.
They are using it for exposure, right? They're just using it to show off your work. They're crediting you and all that
Yeah.
stuff. But you own the rights to whatever it is, so they can't reproduce it or sell it. Now, if they're making a profit
Uh-huh.
off it, you could request
Request,
royalties
Uh-huh.
or like a percentage of like say they have like 1,000 copies made and you
Yes.
want like 10 or 15%
Okay.
of whatever revenue they make off that. Yeah, sure. Definitely do that because they're making a profit off of your work.
Yes.
If they're making a profit off of your work, you don't work for exposure.
Mm-hmm.
If they're doing it for charity, yeah,
Okay.
of course. That
Yeah.
like if it's charity work, me personally, if it's for charity, I'll do it.
Okay.
Of course, that looks good on you. It's
Definitely.
free marketing.
It is free
You know,
marketing. Yes.
you still own the rights to the image unless they're auctioning it off, like the actual. But you can still like make prints and resell it later
Yeah.
if you'd like. It's not like they own it.
Okay.
Like that was a concept that my teacher told us, or my professor told us in school, he had a client that commissioned painting, right?
Yes.
And so he got the painting, but that didn't mean he owned the rights to the reproduce it.
Oh.
So like
okay.
my professor could make prints of it and sell the print or
Yeah.
whatever. Like he owns the image. It's not like he copyrighted it under the client's name and
Yeah.
had like all those little fine line details put on it.
Yeah.
So like those are things to think about. That's gonna bring me over to like that book I wanted to talk about later.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But I'll talk about that later. But yeah, so it's like that. I say if it's not a project you're interested in,
Yeah.
if you feel like you have a different project you'd rather be working on or one that pays you,
Okay.
yeah, do that instead. If someone's coming out of the blue, hey, can you do work for free for me? No, of course not. They wouldn't go to their freaking doctors and be like, yo, can you cut out this kidney stone for me for free?
For free, and
And
then I'll give you exposure.
Yeah, I'll tell all my friends you were very gentle and you're really great at cutting out kidneys. No, you wouldn't. You'd be thrown out of the office.
Yeah.
Like, get real. But people seem to think that you could get artwork for free, and I think it's because you have a lot of young artists there who are like new, they want exposure, things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course, like there's gonna be people that ask that because they expect it. I think it's our duty as people in the creative community, as artists, to educate people that you have a skill, you are trained in a skill, whether it be self-taught or in an institution, that you developed over the course of years, sometimes even decades, and that's a lot of money, time, and effort that you put into honing the skill, honing your craft, developing a style. You do not do that for free.
No.
It doesn't matter if the sketch takes you 5 minutes. It took you 10 years to make that sketch in 5 minutes. It's a whole process. So of course that's going to cost somebody $50.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I'm just throwing out numbers.
According to the experience level,
Yeah,
you could set your rate.
Exactly. So, I mean, I guess bottom line is, if it's a project you want to do, if it's a person that you're on good terms with, if you feel like it's going to be beneficial to both of you, do it for free. If you don't think it's going to make you happy, if you don't want to work on it, if it's just not the right time because you don't have time to do it because you have bills to pay, don't do it. Don't do it. It doesn't matter. You could get exposure from anybody. And if people want things for free from you or this and that, or they say, hey, well, I don't want to pay that much because that's so easy to do, I could do it. You could just tell them, well, go do it then.
Do it yourself,
Go do it yourself, because obviously you can't if you're asking me to do it.
That's true.
If people come up to you and ask you for a product based on your skill, you charge them for that skill because they don't have it. They want something that only you can produce. So
Got it.
I think you just need to value yourself.
Got it. That kind of falls back into the freelancing area where you kind of you could pick your projects.
Oh yeah, definitely. Pick your projects.
No, that makes sense. So I know as far as companies that are that use other people's work and whatnot, that kind of brings me to this kind of concern that a lot of people have. Some newer artists, they might be a little scared to expose some of their art because they think that someone could steal their stuff. So, or just even take credit for their work, especially photographers when they take a picture. Once it gets on the internet, people can grab that pretty easily.
Yeah.
And it's scary.
It is scary.
So,
I'm
you
sorry.
first.
Go ahead.
Oh no. Okay. So, I was actually just wondering. Like, I know it happens in other areas of the art industry as well. So, I mean, what are some ways that you've seen that you can actually take to prevent art plagiarism, and how can someone actually protect their work?
Well, I guess I'll just go address your question from the ending to the beginning.
Sure.
Because I think that'll be the easiest.
Sure.
I guess there's some people out there. I know when I was younger and I first started, I made my first DeviantArt account and all that goodness. I was very scared about plagiarism. Someone stealing my idea and claiming it as theirs. And I mean, it happens. That's been happening since the beginning of art. Artists steal. even people who aren't artists steal. It just
Yeah.
happens. It's something that you're never going to avoid, but it's something that you can educate people on to avoid it.
Yeah, it's just kind of part of the game.
Yeah, people don't realize like how much time goes into art,
Yeah.
whatever it is, and they steal it. Like, oh shit.
That's okay.
Okay. I guess I'm jumping around.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, I know that as far as just a lot of art projects in general, I mean, I was talking to one of the previous interviewees, and he was saying like even with writing, once it gets on the internet, he'll find it on a torrent site the next day.
Yeah.
With part of his piece, and I know like he was saying with being with a company. They have lawyers.
Yeah,
that's a perk of being with a company.
That's true. They have the copyright.
Yeah, but it's not exactly easy to get there.
It's still not easy, no matter what. Even if you're freelance, you could copyright. You still have, it's your intellectual property.
Yeah.
It still belongs to you. But people can still steal it. It's an image. It's a writing piece. It's a clip of a song. It's very easy to get access to those things, and people, they want it, they're going to take it for sure. Like, even great artists steal from each other. Andy Warhol did a lot of reproduction or mass-produced works, literally just copying like cans, not changing anything.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and creating like, I remember one piece that really stood out to me. He did these boxes of, I think it was like some kind of detergent. It was literally just detergent
Really?
boxes or some like household goods.
Oh, okay.
It's literally just the brand on the box and calls it art. But during his time, I mean, he was making a statement about advertisement and mass-produced products, and it was actually very brilliant. But I mean, at the same time, there's a lot of people bringing up like copyrights. A lot of people like, that's not real art because he's stealing it off of whatever. It happens, and it's a fine line between thievery and then inspiration.
Okay.
So I think as a new artist, I know you don't want people to steal your work, claim it as yours, and I know you're very tempted to put ugly ass watermarks all over your pieces or whatnot. I say, you know what? Don't do that. Don't put watermarks. If they're gonna steal it, they're gonna steal it. They're gonna print it. I know Comic-Con, there's been issues with those people who make those screens, and there's anime artists out there, people who do anime or manga art, and their art gets stolen from websites and they get screen printed. But you know what ends up happening? They have a big enough fan base to where they get called out, they get put down, they get in trouble.
Yeah.
So I think it really comes down to the community you build. No one's going to steal your work if it's not popular enough to steal. And I know that sounds rude. But I don't think as a new artist, you need to worry too much about it. It happens. I mean, my friend's art was stolen. Her idea was stolen by this more popular artist on DeviantArt.
Oh, okay.
Literally copied the exact same concept, the art. And I was really pissed. I was really upset. And she was very upset and pissed. And then this woman, she ends up becoming really popular. And my friend didn't. And I think it all depends on like how much effort you put into it.
Yeah.
So did that one piece make that artist really popular? No, she just did a lot of work. A lot of work that was very popular at the time. And I feel like a lot of people may have been style work anyways, and she just caught a wave. So I don't think anyone's gonna get crazy recognition for copying your work, so I don't think you need to worry about that. And then if you're so popular, they're stealing your work anyways. They're going to be stealing your work anyways, but you're popular enough to where your fan base can shut them down and call them out for their plagiarism.
Oh yeah, the internet's an interesting place nowadays.
Definitely. So if you think about it this way, if someone copies you, it's the biggest form of flattery.
Oh, okay.
It might even give you more exposure. I know that word, like, I'm still getting like a little cringe from our last discussion.
Oh yeah.
But like, think of it as if someone is willing to steal your work or that idea, maybe you should still like run with that idea.
Still go with it?
Yeah, still go with it, because you know what? It's popular enough to steal. It must be pretty popular.
So you got to be the one that pulls it off best.
Yeah, definitely. Like, don't let someone's shortcomings affect the way you do things. Don't let that hinder you from producing art or putting out there, because you'll never be successful if you don't put yourself out there.
That's very
So don't be scared. If you see people steal your work or use it, call them out on it. Be like, hey, you stole this. This is what this is. At least credit me.
Yeah.
Unless they're taking the exact same image and reposting it.
Doing it verbatim.
Yeah,
with
verbatim.
art.
Yeah, like literally just taking photocopies and saying
Yeah.
it's theirs and their original idea. No, call them out on
Oh,
that bullshit,
boy.
definitely. But most of the time, artists just make reference or pay homage to
Yeah.
other artists. And sometimes they credit them, sometimes they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And they're assholes if they don't. Most artists agree. It's a community, and
Yeah.
you need to build that community by putting yourself out there, getting people that are like-minded, and you all support each other. And I think that's what's really beautiful about art. Like, once you get that solid base, that loyal following,
Yeah.
after you've built up this community around your concept, idea, style, it becomes a very safe place.
I imagine that, like, with a strong enough fan base, man, you could probably wreck someone's
Oh yeah,
reputation.
no, it's terrible. There's like so much drama going on in the art community, like between like really, really popular people, where they just rip on like other artists, and I feel bad. Like I feel bad, but at the same time, like, well, you did steal. Like you sort of get what you get.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
you reap what you sow. So at the
Yeah.
end of the day, like if someone steals your work, just remember, karma's gonna get them back.
Yeah, it's gonna bite them in the ass.
Definitely.
Very neat, very neat. I know for most artists, musicians, and even writers, I know you get into one of those times where you get into a block, and so you're just like, oh, I can't think of anything. Why am I not being as creative as I was the other day? I know, like, everybody experiences those times. So I was just curious, do you personally have any special, I guess, tips or things that you do, whenever you start experiencing, I guess, like a creative burnout, or
Yeah.
you're running into an artist block?
It happens a lot. It sucks. You feel like you can't do anything, and you feel like you're useless, and you're a terrible artist, and everything you make looks like shit. I understand.
boy. Yeah.
Every person's been through that.
Yeah.
And the best thing to do is just keep doing it. It's gonna, like, I know it sucks, but no matter what, like even freelancing, it's such a hard thing, because there's going to be projects you absolutely loathe and hate,
Oh, yeah.
and there's going to be projects that you could get done very quickly. The best thing to do is, like, well, if you were clocking in, if you're
Yeah.
going to any other work or job,
Yeah.
you would still do the shitty work, because you
You
have
would,
to.
yeah.
And you have to treat art, if you want to treat it as a job, the same way. I think a good way to get out of a creative block, or to try to get, like, you want to have more enjoyment out of it,
Yeah.
or you want to develop, is do something different. Experiment. I think when you have a creative block, it's the best time to experiment, because doing what you normally do isn't helping you, right?
Yeah.
So you could do something else, like try drawing with your left hand, do sketches, like just create a bunch of ugly pieces. Just do a bunch of terrible work, and eventually a spark's gonna come. And maybe you could just save those pieces, those sketches, whatever, and look back at them later and be like, I really like this design here. I really like
Yeah.
this color palette. Oh, I like the technique. And you could get more ideas that way. It really, think of it as brainstorming. Like when you're writing, like in school, when you had to write short stories, you
Yes.
brainstorm, you write your ideas down, or if you had to write an essay.
Yeah.
And then there's a moment where something just clicks, and then you just go on this wild journey, and you're very excited. Well, art's the same way, but instead of writing words, you're drawing images, painting pictures, throwing down color, ripping stuff, pasting things.
Yeah.
And it's more fun because you don't have to treat it so fine arty. Like, as I'm speaking as a traditional artist. I mean,
Yeah.
digital, I feel like you could do the same thing, but I think most artists, when you start off, it's very traditional, it's very tactile. And if you bring that back into it,
Yeah.
I think it's definitely gonna make those creative juices flow. What I like to do is I like to go to the beach, take pictures, draw people. I like to go to coffee shops and just draw people. Like I will stare at them and just draw them. And I like drawing very interesting looking people. So I like to draw really old people with all the wrinkles, or like overweight people because they got those nice curves. And like, I know this sounds a little weird, but I love it. Like the folds in their like shirt and in like their skin.
It's very intricate.
Oh, I love it. I love drawing like overweight people. It's amazing. I love drawing extremely skinny people too, but I don't know. It gets boring after a while. Like more shapes and sizes. That's why you go to the beach and you see half naked people. You go to Black's Beach, draw naked people. Hey, that's free life drawing right there. You don't have to pay
There
for
you
a
go.
class.
You don't need a model.
You don't need a model. And working in different mediums too, I think. So say if you work in pen or you work in paint or watercolor, try something else. Instead of using a brush, use your fingers or throw paint. I think if you're having a hard time working one way, try working it a different way.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So just kind of let your imagination run wild.
Yeah, let it run wild. Like, do the things that you'd be too scared to do on a project. And work it on, like, just random things. Because I think what ends up happening when you're, like, working on a piece, you get creative block or whatnot, you become so focused on that and you don't want to mess up, even though you had so many drafts. And you're working on the drafts, but you don't want to mess up the drafts. Mess up the drafts. They're fucking drafts. That's why you have
true, huh?
like the loose leaf papers, you have the transfer papers.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. It's not the final piece.
Yeah.
There's so many other things you could do. Grab a coffee, go eat some candy, go have an ice cream.
Get yourself comfortable.
Yeah, get yourself comfortable. Explore. I think if you think too much, you end up trapping yourself. So you gotta, stretch.
There you go. There, I like that. That is great. Yeah, because I know like a lot of people that I know that are on the artsy side, they do have very perfectionist type attitudes. I think it's just a normal thing.
Oh yeah.
Where they're just like, no, it's not good enough yet. It's not good enough yet. Nah, I don't like the way it looks. And I like that though. Just kind of working on drafts and going back to that. And you just said stretching.
Yeah, stretching, experimentation. It works.
Wow. So as far as just, I guess, anyone who wants to be an artist, what do you think is the best piece of advice that you can give them?
Draw every day. If you're doing like traditional work or digital work, draw every day. I don't do that. I'm working towards it. It's hard. It's hard.
That sounds difficult.
It's difficult. Like even if it's only like a quick sketch, that's better than nothing. You want to keep your hand warmed up. If you stop doing something for a long enough time, it's gonna suck. You're gonna realize it sucks, and then you're never gonna want to draw again.
Yeah.
Because you think, oh, I'm terrible.
Yeah.
No, you're just out of practice. Yeah. So I think one thing is draw every day. Be disciplined.
Yeah.
Like I've been trying to devote at least 1 hour every day, and it's hard. Working like 2 jobs, working on like side projects, commissions, getting things ready for shows. Like.
Yeah.
You say you don't have enough time, but there's always time if you make it. If art's that important for you, you will make time. Even if it's drawing a sketch on the trolley on the way to work, or if you're sat down for lunch, draw something. You're waiting for your food to be made, just carry a small sketchbook, a little pocketbook. I have a small sketchbook with me all the time. I have 2. I have like 2 pencil cases. I just always have something. I used to carry a little travel watercolor kit. Like, don't lose an opportunity to create. Even if it's just taking photos, like, oh my God, I love the way the sky is. Take a photo. Or I like the way that outfit on that person is. Take a photo. I take tons of reference photos. My phone, I always have to empty it at least every week or 2 because
Dang.
I know. That's the best thing as an artist. Pro tip. Take your own reference images. You won't get in trouble for copyright.
That's true, huh?
Yeah, so like no matter what, just think creatively.
Yeah.
Like if you find the opportunity to draw. Take a photo. Listen to music. Try to stay in that artistic mindset, even if you're doing a job that isn't artistic.
Yeah.
If you're between jobs or at school, not studying art, you can make time for it. I promise you, there is enough time to do something that you love.
Wow. That is spectacular. That is a really great way to wrap that up. Bonus question. So aside from art, what do you like to do in your free time and why? I think you might have addressed it a little bit, but I mean, what do you like doing? You know, I guess like, do you have any hobbies? Anything that you like to do for fun?
Well, I guess. Let me think about this. I was just thinking, well, everything I do, I'm thinking about like the past few weeks. I was like, well, everything I've done in my spare time has been art related in some form or another.
I mean, I guess if that's your part of your hobby and what you like to do in your free time still.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, that's your life, right?
Yeah, it's true. But no, I play video games. I love video games.
Awesome.
I haven't played video games in 3 months though. I've been very busy though.
Oh yeah.
But aside from that, I do love going to the beach, just walking up and down the coast. It's really nice. I love people watching. That might be the artist in me. It might be, because I love looking at people's quirks. I love seeing the way they carry themselves, the way they dress, the way they present themselves to the world. It tells you a lot about that person. I just find that very interesting. Lately, I've been reading a couple books. One book that I've been meaning to read for a couple years. It's you probably heard of it, the 5 Love Languages or whatever.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
By Chap, what's his face? I forget. I'm so
I know what
bad
you're
with
talking
names.
about, though.
Yeah. So I was reading that and I was like, it's giving me ideas. And then I just read this other book. It's BDSM related. It's about how to be a happy and healthy submissive. I have a variety. Whoa. No, but it's very interesting. I love learning things about people. I like to learn how the mind works and how some things affect certain people. And it's really great. And I think reading is really fun. It's a good way to experience things that you're not accustomed to or have the opportunity to try. So that's pretty cool. Other than that, I take photos. I go to coffee shops a lot. I eat a lot. I'm a big foodie. I love food. I take pictures of my food all the time.
Oh, me too.
I draw food. I love food. food, video games, and art. And plants. I love plants.
Oh my goodness.
But it's all art related. I feel like most of it, it's just, I somehow try to bring it back into my work. I think art's like my number one hobby.
Yeah.
And my number one going to be full-time profession.
That sounds amazing. Well, that's everything on my end. Do you have any final thoughts, or did you want to have any special mentions to our listeners, how they could find you?
Oh, that's true. Well, to find me right now, my art Instagram is getting a whole new makeover. Branding, people. Do it.
Branding.
You want to have a recognizable brand, and you want people to know that style. Develop a style, make a brand. Much easier to market that way. That way they know what you're selling. So my art Instagram is under construction right now, but you can find me at my other account is at Miss MISS Kaylene, Kaylene, Marie, Marie. Almost forgot how to spell my middle name there.
That's cool.
That's just going to be my day-to-day happenings, my food pictures, interesting photos of sky, textures, pretty much anything I like to use in my art.
Yeah.
And those are snippets of my reference images.
Hey, so we'll actually get to see some of the stuff that you get influenced by.
That makes me tick. Other than that, I do, if you are interested in freelancing, a book my professor in college recommended, and I swear by it. It's going to help you figure out how to price your work. It's going to help you what the current going rate is, and it's going to help you with writing up a contract, all the good stuff. It's a freaking Bible for graphic designers, illustrators alike. You might have to adjust the pricing based on what edition of the book you get. Get the most recent edition if you want the most adequate pricing. But it's called a Graphic Artists Guild Handbook, Pricing and Ethical Guidelines. I think the 15th edition is the most recent. I could be mistaken.
We'll find out.
Yeah, it's It's a great book. I definitely recommend it. It's huge. It's definitely worth the $40. I think it is on Amazon Prime shipping. You get it. Get that book.
All right, perfect. So I'll actually include some more links in the description in case anyone's interested. But that is everything. That is another episode of Casual Coffee Talk. Again, this is your host Gabe, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you so much, Kayleen, for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you.